Awesome.
We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hassani, and I'm here with this power-packed group of men. Introduce yourselves, fellas.
I'm Gonzalez.
I'm Roland.
Jeff, say that again. Can't hear you, bro. Speak up, man. Can anybody hear Jeff?
No, I can, but it's low.
All right, very good. All right, we're trying to get these technical difficulties squared away. Listen, we're here today. We're talking about an important topic all week long. I told you that we were going to start a new series, and I think this is important because this is what leads so many people to reach out to Couples Academy in the first place, the idea that their spouse is having an affair. So we're talking about it, the 10 signs of infidelity. We're going to go through these signs and see, have you experienced these signs? Have you witnessed these signs? Have you been engaged in these signs? Because I think knowledge is power. Well, what you do with that knowledge is obviously power. And we want to empower you to really get a grip on what's happening within your home, and more specifically, what's happening outside your home. So that's what we're talking about today. But let me just give a few quick announcements. I'm excited because people are registering for the Last Chance Weekend. If you haven't, it is not too late. It is November the 11th through the 13th, as well as the December the 9th through the 11th. So make sure you go ahead and do that. It's going to be powerful. We did a testimonial on last week that a lot of people were just really impacted by. I just want to come back here again if you missed the show so that you can hear what this gentleman has to say. And it gives some insight in terms of what you can experience in your relationship as well. So watch this and then we'll dive right into today's topic.
Hi, my name is Julian Rollison. I am from Virginia. I attended Last Chance Weekend this weekend. And it was a great experience for both me and my wife. We were provided tools that we didn't previously have to address issues that were pretty prevalent in our marriage from basically day one. There were things that we could not come to agreement on. There were things that we struggled with for a very long time. Without the proper tools, there's no way to overcome that on your own. So I definitely recommend anyone out there that is struggling and knows they're struggling but don't know how to solve the issue, this is the perfect place for you to be. For a very long time, my wife never received the proper communication that I was remorseful for my infidelity. Coming here, I was able to express that in a way that she was able to receive it and finally heal from the hurt that I caused her. So that restored hope for our relationship. It gave us both healing. It allowed us to be vulnerable. So there's anyone out there in my situation, I would definitely recommend giving this a chance. The first day was very hard. It exposed everything that you've been hiding. There's no way to fake it. There's no way to avoid anything that you've been avoiding. So if you are serious about your marriage, if you really want it to work, I would recommend you coming here and giving these guys a chance. Thank you.
Powerful testimonial. And these are the type of testimonials that you're going to continue to see over the course of this week and the next few weeks as we lead up to the Last Chance Weekend. November is almost here. This is the place where people are really vacillating back and forth. Do I stay in this thing? Do I leave? I don't want to be in a relationship like this entering into 2023. So they've reached the crossroads. They're at a pinnacle point. They're on the precipice of potential greatness if they show up. So if that's you, if you're trying to figure out if this is what you should do, make sure you sign up. But let's dive in, guys. We're talking about the 10 signs of infidelity. I think this is an important topic to cover because there's so many people who live in doubt, who live in suspicion, who have what they believe to be evidence, but their spouse won't admit it. They feel like they're going crazy. They don't know what to do. And they're looking for clarity. They're looking for certainty. They're looking for closure. How important is it? Let's start with you, Gonzalez. How important is it to finally know? Because, the fact is, some people just don't want to know. They may feel it, they may sense it, but they just don't want it confirmed, because once it's confirmed, they're forced to now have to do something about it. How important is it to know, if you see these signs, whether it's actually happening or not?
It's very important to know, because for the simple fact that you want not only not closure, but the understanding that the why. Why did we get to this point? How? But the thing about it is, knowing it's devastating. For me, it's devastating. The anxiety, the rush. I can't even explain it right now. I can't, because I'm feeling it all over again.
Wow. See, even when you've been years removed, when you're forced to think about it, it can bring you back into that state. That's why the recovery process is so important. Roland, weigh in on this. Why do you think it's important to finally get to the place where you know?
Well, you have to know, because you can feel it in the air. You can feel it in your marriage. You can feel the distance between yourself and your spouse. And what that does is it causes a wedge between you and your spouse. You can't grow. You find yourself stagnated. You find yourself in a position that you can't move, and you're trying to figure out why. But the why is the fact that that potentially something could be going on. You want to tap into knowing so that you can find a place of healing. One, you will have to do some work, but it causes you to take responsibility for your marriage, to save your marriage, to heal your marriage, and to be in a better place. So knowing is half the battle. Doing the work is succeeding in that battle.
Powerful point. Jeff, jump in.
I think a lot of people don't want to know, simply because it's a direct reflection on them. It shows maybe, why wasn't I enough, or what's wrong with me? These questions of doubt and lack of self-worth come in, because so there's two sides to this. There's the whole idea of attacking the person who's doing it to you, but then there's the mirror that you have to look at every single day of did I contribute to this in any kind of way?
So the idea of, if this is happening in my relationship, it must be something I'm doing. And I think, to your point, a lot of people will say, well, why me? How could this happen to us? It wasn't supposed to happen to us. We were that couple. And I think that also contributes to the problem as well. And so the refusal to acknowledge allows him to keep the mirage, allows him to keep the image that they've been holding on for so long. This is so real, particularly with people who are in leadership, who have influence, right? Who are that couple that others look up to and say, man, we want to be like that. Like, if that ever got out, and this is why you find a lot of times that the betrayed spouse protects the unfaithful spouse. They're protecting, so they don't want it to get out. They don't tell family, they don't tell friends, they don't tell anybody. But really, if the truth be told, they're not protecting their spouse for their spouse's own good. They're protecting their own reputation.
Yeah.
And one of the things I keep seeing in these relationships where things go awry is there's this underlying thing that was never addressed and never fixed. Like one of our commenters said, it's like the ultimate elephant in the room. It's really that there's been an elephant in the room the whole time. Everybody's been ignoring it. And then, there are these guys who have this devious mindset who go chase women as a hobby. But what we find more of is people who are actually remorseful, and there was just an underlying problem, and they didn't know how to communicate, and they sought that in someone else, and that sought that comfort in someone else because they felt like they couldn't find that at home. And that's why these tools are so important. One, exposing the affair and finding out for real, but also, once you get past that, addressing the issues that could have created the environment that could have broken, that creeped in to that crevice, that hole that was sitting between you the whole entire time.
Yeah. Listen, before we jump into these signs, I just, I think it's important that we set the record straight. And that is this is something to hold on to. Your partner can be exhibiting all of these signs and still not be having an affair. Okay. So this is why identifying signs is the first phase or stage in the discovery process. because we've seen many couples who've experienced these, and there was absolutely no evidence, no proof, and beyond the evidence and proof, there just was no affair. So there's no secret formula to determine whether your spouse is cheating or not. A person could be doing or exhibiting these behaviors for other reasons. Now, none of these signs are good. It is an indication that something's wrong in the relationship, but the knee-jerk reaction for every person isn't to cheat. Some people respond in different ways, and I think that's important. And what happens is a lot of times when we're in this research phase, right, we're playing detective and we come across anything, we automatically make accusations and accuse them of things that there's no evidence or proof of, and something that they're just not wired to do. So make sure that you take your time and you truly process and you count the cost before allowing it to destroy your relationship. Do you find that to be true in any case with any of you, with the clients that you work with, or just conversations you've had, that it's not always an affair?
Absolutely. Can I posit a question here that might spark a lane for us of understanding? Is it possible, and I'm sincerely asking this question, that the affair is actually a symptom and not the disease? Is it possible that the affair is a symptom and not the disease? In other words, these behaviors could be a result of show signs of affair, but just like the sniffles could be COVID, or it could be just a regular common cold. You think you have one problem, and it's really another. Could it be that the disease has been something that's crept into your marriage the whole entire time? Lack of communication, lack of trust, building up over time, and that the affair is the result or the symptom that you're experiencing, not dealing with the problems that you have.
Well, no, it's not possible. It's an actual fact. It's an actual fact that it's a symptom of a deeper issue. So whether that deeper issue exists within the relationship or that deeper issue exists within yourself, it is the manifestation of an internal relational or personal problem that has not been corrected and resolved. And I think that's a phenomenal point, simply because so many people say, and we've heard it, we read the comments all the time, well, it's his fault. He's the one who cheated. I had nothing to do with it. It's all him. It's all him. It's all him. Now, right, it's his decision that he made, or her decision that she made, but really it comes from somewhere. There's just like Gonzalez started out. Well, what is the why? Where does it come from? So either it's an internal struggle you've had and you've shown up this way throughout the course of your life, or there's something happening within that home that creates a vulnerability. And as a result, as a consequence, the affair took place. And I think that's critically important. Roland, weigh in on this.
A lot of times, we overcompensate because of the insecurities that we have within ourselves. And so when we overcompensate, we tend to have these tendencies that look like we're having an affair, or they are the repercussions and symptoms of having an affair. And because we don't want to deal with the situations or the issues within the marriage head on, then we find ourselves going around about. We start compartmentalizing, we start minimizing, we start finding ways to not deal with the issues. And as a result, it comes off as if things are not being presented the way that they should be. We give a false impression of what's really going on because we don't want to deal with what's going on within.
Powerful point. I mean, powerful point. Gonzalez, anything to say regarding that?
All I keep seeing is like a roadblock. You keep going down all these different streets trying to have these excuses on why these symptoms occurring. You're going to so-and-so's house, you're going to this one's house, but you come to the point where you come to a dead end. You can't hide no more because now you're exposed. Now you need help. Oh, don't go this way. Well, I'm going to just do a U-turn. I'm going to do a K-turn. Come up out of here. No, you're caught. You're busted. You're in the alleyway. Now, how do you confront yourself?
So I think one of the greatest things about Couples Academy, from my experience, and this is not just because I'm a part of your organization, I wouldn't be a part of it if I didn't believe in what I've seen, is I think that the major difference between Couples Academy and a lot of the traditional counselors I've known growing up. I mean, my parents were in counseling. Everybody I know is in counseling. But at the same, and even some of them do affairs, some of them do other issues. But at the end of the day, the difference I've noticed about Couples Academy is you treat the disease and not just the symptom. And
Mm.
most other organizations I found are trying to treat the affair like it's a disease. They're not dealing with the whole person and making that whole person healthy so that they don't have these reoccurrences. They attack just the symptom. It's like bad cold medicine. It takes away the sniffles and it comes back with a vengeance at night. And when you treat the whole person, the disease, the things that are going on in your communications that created these symptoms, you come out healthier, stronger, and that's why you have so many wonderful success stories.
You know, it's interesting. I was at the airport last night getting ready to get on a flight. So I had a discovery call with the obnoxious, loud announcer. You know how when you're in the airport, like every 2 seconds, and I'm trying to get through this discovery call. And we were talking about the Last Chance weekend. And one of the partner's major concerns, she was just like, listen, I know we need to deal with the affair. And, you know, I know what I did and what I did was wrong. But my fear is that doing like some 3-day experience, there won't be enough time to deal with the root issues or the relational dynamics, because we've been struggling with relationship issues for quite some time. And so I just don't see how it could be done in a weekend. And I said, well, you know what? I understand your concern, and what you're saying makes perfect sense. You know, the reality is the very first thing that we do, the very first thing, whether we're doing weekly sessions, whether we're doing an intensive or private marriage intensive, is we dig into the issues within the relationship. We take you through a comprehensive exercise where we identify the key struggles, challenges, faults, flaws, idiosyncrasies, vices, bad behaviors, things that get on your first and last nerves that your partner is exhibiting, the struggles you're having in the relationship that has created that vulnerability for the affair to come. And so when we talk about one day's dedicated to the affair recovery, another day's dedicated to the marital recovery, and another day is dedicated to the individual recovery process, it's a 3-pronged approach that allows us, to your point, Jeff, to get to the root of the issue. Because if we only address the affair and not the root cause or the reasons why, then guess what? 6 months down the line or sooner, here we go again. And so we're trying to dig in deep and to create a healthy foundation for a long-lasting, mutually beneficial, closed relationship where infidelity is not even an option. It's not even a consideration. It's not even a temptation. And that's, to your point, what we do and why what we do is so unique. There's a couple comments that came in. I want to jump in. Kimberly says, had a friend who was cheated on simply because he could. She never questioned him. He had complete freedom. As far as she knew, everything about the day seemed normal in every area. Why does normal equal boring, sometimes leading to cheating? Her family was ruined. So ultimately, why does normal equal boring? I think this is interesting. A lot of times in the beginning of a relationship, it's hot, it's passionate. There's a whole lot of intensity, right? You want to spend all day, all night with that person. You're wooing them. You're spending time alone, separate from family, separate from friends. You will play hooky from work just to be in that person's presence. And so after a period of time, normalcy does set in. So the newness feeling is gone. Like the new car smell, gone. The new pocketbook, gone. The new home, gone. The new is what we're chasing after, because new is sexy. But new soon becomes normal. And if we're addicted to the new, if we're addicted to the high, then we will always wind up in situations where we betray our spouse because we no longer have what we thought we should have for the rest of our days together. And that is not understanding the nuances of relationships and the phases that relationships go through. But once you have that, then you can have a secure relationship. I want you guys to weigh in on that point.
I'm going to counter. I don't do that very often. I'm going to counter. I think that for certain people in this world, their life is meant to be an adventure, and that normal can be a threat. So, but I want you to understand, you can have new within the confines of your relationship. So let me start there. You can have new within the confines of your relationship. My wife is a very standard bearer. She's okay with things just being day to day to day to day. And for me, I always need a new adventure, a new thing to get into. That doesn't mean I need a new woman. I can do new things with my spouse, new adventures with my spouse. You know, axe throwing. We haven't done that yet. We're going to go do it. new things, and we're creating new plans, new ideas, new things for our children, new things for ourselves, new things for business, new things for love, new things for our own adventures in life. And when we get to that level of being an explorer, which we talk about in Last Chance Weekend and some of the other places, the explorers, where we get to explore these new things together. I think what happens with the normalcy is you stop having new goals. And when you create goals, you create a new life.
You said something powerful, Jeff. That one word, create. We fail to create new things. We fail to create new for ourselves. It's the craziest thing that we can have new every day if we want to. We just have to create it. We have to lead out. We have to initiate. We, as men, as leaders, we set the temperature and the tone for our relationships, and we can make everything fun. Our wives can initiate sometimes. We can go back and forth. We have to create new for ourselves. We have to continue to be spontaneous within ourselves, within our marriage, because the bottom line is anytime you go outside and you begin to put your energy elsewhere, you're sucking away the energy within your marriage. You just draw from your marriage. So we have to create new within our marriage and stop failing to be willing, right, to do new things for each other.
You guys are spot on. I don't think you counted the point. I think you completed the point.
Right.
You completed it. And that's exactly it, you know? And this is why people wind up in affairs, because they feel like either they're not experiencing new in their marriage or they feel like they'll never get it. So I might as well go out and get a new thing. And so they don't realize that they're destroying their lives, destroying their relationships, their families. Not that it's destroyed forever, but it's a significant setback. But I think ultimately what she's saying is, I had a friend who cheated simply because he could. She never questioned him. He had complete freedom. And I think, you know, listen, freedom is important within boundaries and parameters. You know, we talk about the importance of being on the same page and living by a code of conduct, a code of ethics, a shared value system in your relationship. And if you do that, have all the freedom you want, because I know you're operating according to this code. If we're not all operating according to the same code, then freedom or no freedom, it's just not going to work. And I think these are the conversations people are not having, which contributes to the problem. So listen, let's go to the next point, because we were talking about how a person can exhibit all the signs and yet still not be cheating. But the inverse is true. Your partner can be exhibiting none of the signs at all, but yet still engaged in the affair. You know, there's an assumption that, you know, a cheating partner always leaves clues. And so a naive spouse must obviously have their head stuck in the sand if they don't see the obvious. But interestingly enough, much like crimes that are committed, there's a lot of crimes that are committed and they're never caught. Right. And so likewise, in a relationship, affairs happen all the time that are not detected. Some people do a phenomenal job of compartmentalizing themselves. Some people do a phenomenal job of being liars. Not only do they tell lies, they live lies, and they've gotten away with it for so long. And so you would never know. So I think that's important to know as well, because a spouse will beat him or herself up because they're stupid. How could I not have seen this? And not only do they struggle trusting their spouse, they struggle to trust themselves.
Absolutely. I think when you take a look, that there is a definable difference between the person that leaves a ton of clues and the person that doesn't leave any clues. And that is compartmentalization. The one person is seeking an emotion, the one who actually goes out for that emotional affair and has like these wonderful relationships. They're seeking to replace an emotion that they no longer feel or experience, but that they want. And then the person who's not as much leaving clues is probably compartmentalizing and not developing relationships with the people that they're interacting with. And it's usually multiple people at that point. It's very transactional. And so they're able to compartmentalize it because they're not engaging in emotion. It's more of a lust straight towards the action. And so, you know, you can see there's a definitive difference between the two approaches. One is actually seeking that emotional bond that they're missing, and the other one is looking just probably more for the act than anything else.
Guys, we're talking about the 10 signs of infidelity. We have a couple comments that we're going to go to, but first we're going to go to a quick commercial break. So stay tuned. Be right there on the other side of this. We'll get back into the conversation. Hey everybody, my name is Hassani Pettiford.
And I'm Danielle Pettiford, and we are the co-founders of Couples Academy, and we cannot wait to join you all the way in Lagos, Nigeria.
Yes, for the International Family Life Practitioners Conference. Listen, it's going to be happening on October 20th and 21st at 9 a.m. It's going to be at the David Christian Center, so make sure you show up. If you're a therapist, a practitioner, a coach, if you're anywhere in the marriage space and you want to take your business and your ministry to the next level, be there. When 45 men from all walks of life come together in one place for one purpose, there is a collective harmony that produces an amplification of power that leaves an impact on the lives of men that cannot be erased. A fraternity of legendary men, all at the tipping point, on the precipice of greatness, meeting for one weekend to turn their worlds inside out. For the first time ever, the Foundry experience. Not an event, not a seminar or retreat, but an opportunity to come face to face with the man you were always destined to be. If you want a life that's better than the one that you are living, meet us January 2023 for the Foundry experience. Hey guys, we're back. We're talking about the 10 signs of infidelity. The chat has been blowing up. I know we're running out of time. We're going to hit a couple, but I want to hit this one right. Oh, I'm sorry. That's you, Gonzalez. Thank you for sharing about the fact that we need to download the app. If you haven't done that, please do that, because that's where you're going to get all the incredible information. You can tune into the show. You have archive videos on a variety of different topics. You can connect with our practitioners. You can find out about our events. Go ahead and do that. It's the best thing that you can do. But there's a comment here. Ms. T says, the affair can be a lack of integrity and or brokenness in the unfaithful. It's not always the fault of the betrayed. I'm sorry, my screen keeps jumping. It's not always any fault of the betrayed spouse. Sometimes a partner is a cheater. And guess what? You're right. But all of it is true. It can be both. It's not either or. It can be both and. You know, oftentimes there's something within the person that they're struggling with. See, and when an affair happens, you know, or when pressure happens in a relationship, it forces out of us what may already be in us. To your point, there's some issues that person's dealing with, but we can't escape. We can't deny. We can't skip over the fact that there's a relational challenge as well. I mean, truth be told, 99% of the time, 99% of the time, when we get into full disclosures and walk through a recovery process, there were issues in that relationship. Now, yes, there are couples who have phenomenal relationships and a spouse cheats anyway. That happens. That is a reality, but that's not typical. That's not normal. There's something there that caused that person to go over the edge, and with something within them that helped them to make a poor decision. So I think it's a combination of the two. I want you all to speak in on that.
What is the backstory of all that? You know, I was thinking this morning, reading articles on just basically the backstory, growing up into the household or just seeing people around you that was always cheating, infidelities, no help, no counseling, nothing. And then once they get older, they continue to do the same things, expecting the same results. So they're walking around their entire life with insanity. Nobody's trying to break the curse. So me personally, as my experience, I seen nothing but bad around me. Yeah, I had good people, but there wasn't the standard. So nobody taught me, to be faithful. Nobody taught me these are the tools that you need. These are the essentials that you need. Nobody talked about infidelity in the house. Nobody talked about that. So I didn't learn, the core of things until I start getting caught. I started making mistakes. And then once I matured within in life, I found Couples Academy. I got tools, I got essentials. And now the curses that I was dealing with within myself, they're now being broken. So there's a lot going on in that backstory as men, but as boys. So moving forward, when are we going to step up?
It's not that anyone's blaming the betrayed spouse. Believe me, that there's no excuse for infidelity ever. You got to realize that infidelity is just one way that men and women cope with the fact that they're in pain, in their brokenness. It can be alcohol. It can be drugs. It can be watching nothing but sports and sitting in front of a television. It can be video games. Coping mechanisms vary. Unfortunately, infidelity is one of the most painful, really seriously, drugs can be extremely painful, just as painful too, and so can alcohol. Abuse is also another way people cope. Now, it all comes from the same brokenness. The brokenness is the disease. And whether that's the brokenness in your relationship or brokenness in the individual, that is the disease. Brokenness. Feeling broken and not having help. And from that point, the problem that I think we all have is that everyone keeps trying to treat, I just need him to stop cheating and be a good husband. And da-da-da-da. No, we need to deal with the brokenness. So I'm glad you said that word, because that is the disease that affects America as a whole. Infidelity and divorce are the results of that brokenness. We have a lot of broken people in this country, and we need to start healing so that we can build stronger families. We build stronger families, we'll build a stronger nation. Period.
You're absolutely right. And, my father-in-law used to say all the time, pressure busts pipes. And a lot of times we get in this space, and we don't want to grow up. To Gonzalez's point, we allow immaturity to set in, we allow brokenness to set in, we allow generational curses and cycles to set in and think that has to be the thing that we go to. That's the norm. But we can break these things. We can break these attitudes. We can break the selfishness of who we are, because that's what it is as well. Selfishness plays a big, huge part in why we don't want to change, why we don't want to get the help that we need. We don't want to be responsible. We don't want to take the initiative to do what we have to do for ourselves to create that better life ourselves. I had a PhD in compartmentalizing because I felt like it wasn't that bad. We'll sit in this space of it's not that bad. And then what we do is we start comparing ourselves to somebody else. So we put ourselves above the person that we think is doing something really bad to give an excuse for things that we're doing. And we have to move away from looking at other people and start looking at the man in the mirror to start making the adjustments to see that we have something on our face to get it out. We have something in our heart that we need to get out. We have to have a heart transformation to have a better life, to create that space, to Jeff's point, to create a new nation.
Wow, you guys are hitting it. Powerful commentary. Let's just go to a couple comments and we're going to wrap this up. Tiffany says, my husband seen his grandfather and father cheat. God revealed he has a generational curse on his bloodline. Man, he's not super open to getting the help he needs. I don't know if I can stay in this if he doesn't get help. Then we have Curtis, who says, good morning from AZ, Arizona. Listening to you all has really helped me so much. We just came up on 2 years past D-Day this past Thursday. It feels like I get pulled back into the same terrible place now and again. Thank you all that you do help bring healing and move forward. I've been working but hard sometimes. I'm just tired of feeling like I'm the only one digging for the root of the issue. I saw the signs and called them out each time. I was completely gaslit and still struggling to believe. Man, these comments are strong. My husband and I are coming out of the other side of infidelity, but every day I have to choose to continue to remain open because infidelity makes it that much harder to choose that. You know, you could see through these comments that people are truly struggling and they're in need for help. And so we thank you for tuning in. We ask that you will continue to tune in every single day throughout the course of this particular series, because as we unpack these signs in the days to come, we're going to give you some insight, some instructions, some know-how on what you can do to really overcome the pain that you're going through and begin to restore your relationship. But you keep seeing this number at the bottom of the screen. It says 678-200-8996. It says couplesacademy.org. You need to go there and set up a discovery call. A discovery call is not a couple session. That's not what it is. It's a call to figure out how, if possible, we can work together and create a plan for your recovery and for your personal healing. If that is something that you're interested in, please reach out to us. We have phenomenal practitioners who are well equipped to guide you through a process. Listen, guys, we appreciate you for staying in a few minutes over time. We love you for all that you do. We will see you tomorrow for another great episode. We're going to go into part 2 and actually dig into some signs. We were just giving you foundation today, but tomorrow we're going to dig in. So stay tuned. Love you all. See you in the AM.